Um, right. Hey, everyone. It's Dijon here from Trend Watchers, and welcome to episode 9 of the Let's Go Viral podcast. I got Mark Beall right here. Am I saying your last name right, by the way?
Yes, yeah, it's Beall. Yep.
Awesome. All right. I was doing lots of practicing in the mirror, but yeah, Mark, he's a YouTuber, coach, content creator, author, I believe, as well. Is that correct?
I've written an ebook. Yeah, so it's kind of short, but yeah.
Good stuff. Hey, me too. Yeah, it's a nice title to have. But yeah, Mark, you mind giving everyone like a quick intro about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so my name's Mark Beall. So it's the last name's a little bit interesting because it's spelled Beall, right? So, but it's pronounced Bell. So sometimes people get that kind of confused. It's okay. It doesn't matter to me. It's fine. But yeah, so my background, I grew up in Columbia, Missouri, which is kind of in between St. Louis and Kansas City. And had a really decent childhood. It's kind of a community that's pretty close knit, but it's also a college town too. So it was kind of an interesting area to grow up in. I got interested in computers really early on in my life, and just kind of went from there. So for since about 9 years old, I had my first computer that was like a 286. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's
Oh.
a old processor, and it ran MS DOS. I don't know if you know what that is.
Nope.
Before Windows. so like I was a big nerd, but yeah, so that's kind of my background when it comes to my childhood. And then kind of took that and went on to doing IT worked for the university there for about 20 years, and then I left after YouTube started to take off. And yeah, that's where I'm at now. So just doing YouTube full time and coaching and everything else.
Good stuff. Yeah, thank you for the intro. We got lots to unpack right there, and you kind of already answered
Yeah.
my first question. I like asking all my guests kind of like about their childhood, because like when you look at people's like childhood, like just from like 0 to 18, the things you do
Mhm.
during those years, it kind of sets you up for your adult life, what you're kind of doing now. So yeah, so to kind of hop on the when you're talking about like getting your first computer, was that like, was it like a Christmas gift, or was it like something you always wanted and you went and you like went out and like purchased it from doing like a bunch of like errands around the house? Can you tell us more about
Right.
that?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it was more of a kind of a gift from my parents, like I guess you could say.
Mm.
It was one of those things like when I went to I was in private school for the first 3 years of my life. And they had a computer, and I was like, this is amazing. Like you had this just green screen, like it wasn't
Yeah.
color. It wasn't a color monitor. It was just all green. And they were doing really interesting stuff on it. Like it was drawing circles and it was doing all this cool stuff. So I told my parents about it, and they saved up some money and everything. And I actually ended up switching over to being homeschooled, right? So from third grade on through the end of high school, I was homeschooled. And so the having the computer and having that interest in computers really kind of propelled me onto that the next stage of my life. But I always knew from an early age that computers or technology in general it's kind of my thing. Like I really wanted to just stick with that. Yeah, I'm still like, even though I'm doing YouTube, I mean there's tech involved with it obviously, but I'm still like really interested in everything electronics and computers
Yeah.
and all that stuff. So yeah.
And I love how you say you're homeschooled, because like I was homeschooled too. And
Nice.
I don't know what time you finish your work. I finish my work at like 9 a.m. every day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Depending on the day, yeah, it could be really early. But yeah, I was always like, I never really spent like, well, I guess I could say I spent a lot of my free time doing gaming if I could.
Same here.
Um,
Yep.
yeah. But I also like to do programming and like the web. Like the internet was just starting back in like the mid 90s when I was a teenager. So really started to get my feet wet, excuse me, in that world. And spent a lot of time there, like with Internet Explorer, because that was a new thing, and
Mhm.
doing web page design, stuff like that. But yeah, finishing up my schoolwork early was definitely a priority for me, for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's when I look back, like I hated being homeschooled, but now I look back at it, I'm kind of grateful for it, because it gave me that, like, just like a bunch of free time to go out there and just like develop new skills, try out new things. And yeah, some of those things kind of sticked on to like where like where we're both at today. So yeah, because
Yeah.
every time someone says homeschool, I gotta dive deep into like just like learning into like kind of like what they did in their free time. And yeah, that's just something I like asking everyone.
That's
So
awesome.
you graduate high school, right? What did you do
Mhm.
after that? I remember you did go over, you gave like a bird's eye view and in your little intro. Could you dive a little bit deeper into that?
Yeah, sure thing. So yeah, I graduated high school. I worked through my teenage years. I worked at Target, so I was like on the floor. I did all kinds of stuff at Target, but that was my job, and I was there for about almost 3 years. And while I was there, still going to school, doing that part time, actually had an opportunity to move up into more of a supervisory role at
Mhm.
Target. And people were telling me, "Oh yeah, you've been here for so long now, and you do a good job, and you're just going to be here for life." And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 no, I don't want to be here for life. Like this is fine, but this is not my thing, you know."
Mhm.
So that kind of really motivated me to keep doing my kind of extracurricular education with getting certifications with
Mhm.
computers. And so I got my first certification was with Microsoft Windows. I think it was Windows 98 to kind of give you a little bit of a time frame.
Yeah.
So I got Windows 98 certified and just kind of started building up some of that experience there. And by the time I graduated high school, I ended up landing a part-time job with the university as a contractor. So
Mhm.
there was another company that was kind of trying to find talent. And because I had the certifications, they were like, "Oh, well, you know what you're doing, so we'll just place you at the university and we can kind of go from there."
Mhm.
So that ended up turning into a full-time career for me. So really, I kind of skipped college, right? I went right from high
Yeah.
school right into my career. And at a certain point along the path, I had to go back and get my degree, but
Mhm.
that wasn't until later on. But yeah, I had that was kind of my path there. It was a little bit unorthodox,
Mhm.
but it was good, and I kind of got to tick the box, and I kind of got to do what I really wanted to do, which was help people with computers and
Mhm.
do all that stuff for a while, and yeah, so it was great.
Good stuff. So, as you're working through your career, what day, like, I guess, like, walk me through the day you were like, I'm gonna start posting content on YouTube. Could you like elaborate more on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So actually, it was my wife and I were remodeling our house,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you know that I've got my big YouTube channel is about home improvement, right?
Mhm.
So started remodeling our house, or we were remodeling our kitchen, and there was this. We were installing cabinets in our kitchen, and there was this one. Everybody says that you're supposed to start in the corner when you're putting new cabinets in. You start in the corner,
Mhm.
and then you lay all of your cabinets out from that, like on the ground. Like that kind of is kind of like your cornerstone of your cabinets.
Yeah.
Well, the cabinets that we bought weren't the most expensive cabinets. They weren't bad, but they weren't like really expensive cabinets. And the corner cabinet was just a tube, like it was just a face, like the door, like a
Mhm.
corner, like a lazy Susan. And then the lazy Susans, a lot of them just they're like a cardboard tube behind it that
Yeah.
has the tray set into it. So you put this thing in the corner and just wants to fall over, right?
Mhm.
So I'm like, how can I how can I like set up my kitchen with this thing in the corner? Like this is supposed to be the base for everything, right?
Mhm.
So I was like, I looked on YouTube. I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find any articles about how do you work with these cabinets like this. And so I had to come up with a system. I had to come up with a plan on how to make this thing like squared up so I could like get it installed first and then do the rest of my
Mhm.
cabinets. So I got that together and I was like, you know what? Nobody has information on this online. Like this was a big problem for me. I'm sure other people have this problem. Like maybe I should like put this on YouTube.
Mhm.
And so I was like, well, if I do that, maybe I should like figure out what I want to say first. And like all these things started going through my head of like, well, what about this? What about that? Is it going to be good enough? What do I have a good enough camera? All these things. And I'm like, you know what? If I don't just hit record, I'm not going to post it. So
That's
I
right.
just hit
Yeah.
record. I talked through it. It wasn't the best video, but you know what? I posted it and I started getting comments from people like, oh, thank you so
Mhm.
much. This helped me so much. Really appreciate this. I couldn't find anything. Like same people, same situation that I was in.
Mhm.
Like this is awesome. Like this feels really good to be able to help people in this way. Kind of like the same feeling I had with computers and trying to help people, make their computers work, only
Mhm.
just in a completely different realm. So that was the very first video that I created on YouTube, and that's kind of what got everything started.
Yeah.
And there's more that we could go into from there, but that was the very first time that I hit record and actually posted something.
With that first video, how long did it take for you to get traction? By traction, I just mean like views to
Yeah.
where like it starts building up comments and it's getting like, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 views a day,
Yeah, it took a little bit. It took a little bit. It took probably, I'd say, a month or two on that one
Mm,
before it really started. Like, I actually started to see comments come through on it. I
yeah,
kind of just posted it and forgot about it,
yeah.
And
That's
I
the way
posted
how
it
it
on,
goes, yeah.
yeah, I posted on my personal channel because it like I didn't have anything in mind with like,
Yeah.
my home improvement channel, top homeowner, or anything like that. So I just posted on my personal channel, and then yeah, it just kind of after a little bit, it just kind of started to get some traction, and Yeah. So yeah, I wasn't even paying attention.
Yeah. But I remember with me, I was kind of like in the same situation as well. Not out of frustration. I just knew like it was like about a video game. Um,
Uh-huh.
I knew like I just knew it down to the T, and I was afraid that I was gonna wake up one day and just forget everything about it. So I went and created content on YouTube. It's like a database to where I can kind of go and kind of like reference to if I were to forget something. But I made my videos public by accident and it got traction. But it's kind of cool how
Nice.
yeah yeah kind of like same like almost similar to where like just kind of like posting information out there as far as like how to for like both ourselves and other people. So I think that's pretty cool. And you'd be surprised
Yeah.
as far as like how many other people kind of start up the same way as well. So yeah.
Yeah. That's good to know. Good, in good company, right?
Yeah. So after you post the first video to get some traction, what was next? You start like posting more consistently. Could you walk me through that time frame as far as like the early stages
A
of you on
little
YouTube?
bit, yes. So my wife and I started talking a little bit about like, well, this could be like a thing, like we should do more of this, right? Do more
Hmm.
content like this. And one of the things that I think, I can't remember the exact time frame, but I think my wife had said maybe like a year prior to that maybe we should look into YouTube and start doing some stuff. And I think that's kind of where, like, I don't want to take all the credit. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of where I got the idea, like I'll just record this one thing and put it out there.
Mhm.
But we were doing a lot of major renovations on our house, and it's one of those things. It's like, if I do a video for everything, it's just going to take a lot of time, like a lot more time. It's going to send the projects out and all this stuff. So honestly, I started doing a couple more videos, but I didn't do everything that I should have. Like we had a lot of like if I had, like, looking back, if I had started actually going all in with YouTube back when I should have, like,
Mhm.
my channel would be so much bigger than it is right now. But we kind of just started, taking small steps, doing different videos here and there. And actually the very first video that really took off was one that my wife was like, you really need to record this video. You'll make this a video. And I'm like, I don't want to. Like, this is
Mhm.
like, I really don't want to do this as a video. Like, I just want to get this job done. She's like, no, you should do
Yeah.
it. So I'm like, okay. So I recorded it. And then that was the first video that actually really took off. And
Mhm.
it's like, wow, this is definitely a thing. You know what I mean? Like, and that video is up to, I say take off right now. It's a couple years old and it's up to like I think 800 some thousand views right now.
That's a good amount of
Yeah.
views. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in
It's a
your
decent
niche
amount
there.
of views.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
good amount. Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And then, just kind of taking it one step at a time, and
Mhm.
actually this whole time I've kind of resisted being like known as like a home improvement guy, right? Because that's
Mhm.
not like, I'm a tech guy. Like I like technology, like computers and all this stuff. And here I
Yeah.
am. I got a YouTube channel starting to take off with home improvement. So
Mhm.
I've always kind of resisted that a little bit. But I've embraced it more, obviously. But I started a second channel talking about information security, kind of like computer information security, because that's
Yeah.
that's a big part of my background. And I did some videos on that, and it was like, it was okay. Like it wasn't anything spectacular, but like I guess the point of all this is I just kind of have been taking everything one step at a time, seeing where it leads me,
Mhm.
not being afraid to try new and different things, and just
Mhm.
seeing how it goes. I think that's one thing that, even though I do that, I still find myself being a little bit hesitant about, like, well, should I really do this, or should I, like, is it, like, I have that kind of like perfectionist,
Mhm.
element to where I want to make sure everything's just right. But the more you just actually just take the action and actually just do it, the more you'll learn along the way and the more you'll figure it out, versus just
Mhm.
like thinking about it. It's kind of, what I ended up, that's kind of my path and my progress.
Yeah. And that's interesting how you talk about that little like identity crisis because I went through something similar. Still kind of am right now, but like I didn't want to be known as like um I love being a YouTube coach, I love like
Mm.
like being like a meme YouTuber, but like the question is like, do I want to be known for that,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, uh-huh, yep.
Yeah,
So there's like a
totally.
little bit of conflict with that there. So you gotta like kind of stick to the main thing because it's working, but also like on the
Mhm.
back on the like on your free time, kind of like in the back burner. Like I like giving dating advice, social advice, I'm really good at socializing. So like I too have like that second channel in the back burner where I just kind of like post like whatever's on my mind, So yeah, I thought that's kind of interesting as far as like how you're like um your interests are this but you're kind of known for this, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I think it's really cool that YouTube allows us to have that platform, that ability to kind of express ourselves in different ways too. It's just,
Hmm.
and it is kind of hard to kind of realize that, like, not everyone that sees your main thing or your side thing, they're not all going to know about your other stuff unless you talk about it, right? You don't have
Hmm.
to talk about it. And a lot of times the interests that we have don't always cross over even. So, if you're interested in, say, like, I don't know, coffee, maybe you like coffee is like kind of your thing, like you're
Hmm.
foodie for coffee, you could have a coffee channel along with like trend watchers stuff and
Hmm.
whatever else you're doing. And if only the people that might know you for what you're doing now and like coffee might find that coffee channel of yours. So it's
Hmm.
really interesting how YouTube can kind of allow us to express ourselves in different ways if we want to go down that route.
Hmm.
um and by that, just to clarify, I mean like having multiple channels, not like just putting
Yeah.
everything out on one channel. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's really cool. It's like it's taken me a while to wrap my head around that. Like I want to,
Yeah.
like, I'm like, this is my thing. Like I don't want to be known for, like we talked about, like I don't want to be known
Hmm.
for this thing, but it's just part of who I am.
Yeah. And it's an ongoing process too, you know.
Yeah, it
Yep,
is. It
yep.
totally
So
is.
yep, still going on to still today. But another question I had come in mind, because I know growing up we did like our family renovated our house a lot, just like we did some stuff kind of like painting all the rooms. We didn't
Mhm.
do anything too crazy as far as like putting like the flooring in and like the cabinets in, but just even like working around like contractors, that like that was like really exhausting. I can't imagine like filming it and like editing it as well, like redoing shots, like, oh shoot, this footage wasn't right, let me redo it. How do
Right.
you how do you like manage that, as long as um while at the same time juggling just like making sure you get things done on time, your family as well? Yeah, like how do you juggle all
Oh
of
yeah.
that? I never thought about those logistics until you
Yeah,
mentioned it.
yeah, yeah. No, it's interesting. Yeah. So when it comes to projects, I mean, it really comes down to, I don't, there's a couple of different approaches I take. Sometimes I'll make a video that's completely about a specific topic or about a specific problem, and then that's like more of a normal video. Like I'll plan it out. I'll figure out how I want to approach the situation, film it, all that stuff. But when it's like bigger projects, like we just this year we ended up redoing all the stone on the front of our house that we bought a couple of years
Mhm.
ago because it had some kind of an installation issue and the stone like started falling off the house.
Mhm.
And it's like, I won't get into how expensive it is, but it's really expensive to fix, especially if you pay someone else to do it. Plus you can't find anybody to do the work right now, like they're all busy and everything.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, well, this would be a cool video for the channel too. Like, let's just do two things at once. Like, let's get this done and film it too. So with
Mhm.
that video, what I'm doing is I'm just filming everything. Like it's done now, but I filmed all the B-roll basically. I filmed all the project work. I
Mhm.
talked through things when I could. And then what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll take a lot of footage and kind of edit it down. And then I'll just do voiceovers. So I'll kind of come up with a storyline and the process I want to take people through after the
Mhm.
fact. But I
Mhm.
wanted to make sure, like, I only had one shot to get the footage. Like I can't like tear off the old stone on the
I'm
front of the
saying,
house
yeah.
again. It's gone.
Uh-huh.
So there's that stuff that you have to keep in mind. It's like, okay, if you're going to do it, like I have to do it now,
Mhm.
even if the conditions aren't perfect, I have to do it now. Which actually, yeah, that I find that's a kind of a consistent theme in my life. It's like I try to capitalize on opportunities as I see them
Mhm.
because I know that they're not always going to be there. And it's like, if this is here now, I've got to actually like take an action, otherwise
Mhm.
it'll go away. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a really good trait to have, you know.
Yeah.
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 Yep, there's plenty of times where I was kind of like I tend to like if the opportunity's there, I'll be like, oh, I'll just go get it tomorrow, you know, and then I wake up tomorrow and it's, oh, where to go, you know. So yeah, that's not a bad
Yeah.
thing to have.
Yeah.
Yep, not a bad trait to have.
It's not, I'm not perfect. Like there's times that I do that too. I'm like, maybe tomorrow or whatever. It's like, oh man, I should have taken action on that.
Yeah. Yep. You only learn from those failures. But
Yep.
yeah, so you know, like you're posting content to your channel, like how long did it like um I guess like how long ago was it when you first started your channel, and like how's like the growth been over the years, you know, and as far as like you building your community and audience?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. So the channel has been around for about a little over 3 years now. Top homeowner, the home improvement channel, and it's had decent growth. There's been a couple of videos that have popped off, like that one that I told you, and that's really led to most of the growth of the channel. Although a lot of the videos that I put out, I don't want to say they just take in a little bit of traffic. I mean, they do take in consistent traffic. But there's every once in a while you get a video that really like performs way better than the other ones, and I kind of attribute that to like baseball. Like, what you need to do to hit a home run, but you don't always hit the home run, right? You got to put yourself out there. You got to make the content. You got to take the swings, and then eventually it'll connect and you'll actually get the home run. But even if you do everything perfect, there's no guarantees, right?
Yeah.
So you just got to put in the work. But yeah, so basically it's just kind of grown over time. And then between last year and this year, I'm trying to think, I'm not going to give any numbers, but I'm trying to think, I ended up quadrupling my revenue on the channel, in a year's time. And so that was pretty significant for me. And I knew, when I ended up making the decision to quit my career, I knew at that time, it's like, I got to go all in on this, because I can't balance my job there and do this too. Like, it's those two identities were so far out of alignment. Like, it was really messing with me. Like mentally, it was really, really difficult. So I had to make a decision. It's like, okay, I can make this work, but I have to like leave my job to make it work. And that's really when, a lot more things started clicking, like because you're focused more on one thing versus like really scattered, over multiple areas. And so yeah, that's kind of how the growth has been going. It's been steady. It hasn't been like, super like I don't have millions of subscribers yet, that kind of thing. I've got about almost 17,000 subs at the time of this video, which is decent. And then last year, I think it was around 3,500 subs at about the same time. So, it's growing, it's getting there.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you're definitely growing since the last time we spoken, for sure. And it's crazy how much that focus helps. Just because like when you focus on one thing, you're just able to come up with just like higher quality ideas, and it's just better for you, like overall mentally, and also for like your channel, your audience, also the content you're putting out there. So I'm 100% with you on that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And it's, with life, everything, like you'll always have things that compete for your attention and all that. But man, it's sometimes like there's things that sometimes you just know inside. It's like, man, I really have to like not do this, or I have to change this, or whatever. And it's like, you got to listen to those instincts. A lot of times we're like, logically, it would make more sense for me to keep staying in my job. It was a really good paying job, and do that plus the YouTube stuff. But it's like, yeah, logically that makes sense, but like emotionally and everything else, like it doesn't. So you just gotta kind of go with your gut sometimes.
Did your family call you crazy for taking that leap of faith?
Not to my face, but I have the feeling that some people are like, what in the world are you doing?
Yeah.
So yeah, especially like my coworkers, like 20 years at a job, I was known by a lot of people there and at the university, not only just within my area of IT, but also other people I supported over the years and all these things. And then, I tell them like, yeah, I'm leaving. Oh, what are you doing? Like thinking I'm going to, another IT job somewhere else, maybe even in the country. I'm like, oh, I'm doing YouTube now. And they're like, oh, okay, congratulations. Like, good luck with that. Like, they don't even know what to say, I think I had one person ask, like what, they actually were curious about what I was doing, and then I explained it. And I think at that point they're like, oh, okay. And they just kind of dismissed it too, So it's a different path for sure. It's totally not the normal thing, but it's so much better. I'm in such a better place now than I was before. It's crazy.
Good stuff. Yeah, for me, it was family. Yeah, pretty much everyone, they're like, oh, you're crazy, like go to college and all that stuff right there. And just like it wasn't like for me, like it wasn't good, like the energy they're giving off wasn't like yeah, that wasn't good. I still love them, but I had to keep all my stuff like not on the low, but it's like don't tell them for like 6 months, show them the results. That's kind of what worked out for me, as far as like, oh, okay, now I can support you.
Right, like, oh, okay, you're not crazy, I guess.
Yeah, and they're doing that out of like love and concern, like making sure that making sure that I'm not gonna end up in a cardboard box underneath the bridge, So,
right, totally, yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, it's all out of love. I get it. And sometimes people, most of it, I think, especially from our families, I think it's out of love. I think there
Mm-hmm.
are times when people just, I mean, sometimes you make a decision that's just so far outside of their ability or their like environment, their world. It's like it
Mm-hmm.
completely catches them off guard, that they can't even process it. I did have one lady that I used to work with. She told me that. She goes, I can't, this is exactly what she said. She goes, I can't even process what you're telling me right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like she didn't get it. Like she just couldn't understand it. So yeah, it's a different path, but not, we don't have the same path. Like everybody makes their own paths in life, and you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I had more probably pushback when I said I wasn't going to college and I was going right into IT from my family than I did with
Wow.
this. This was kind of like, oh, okay, you know, because I think probably maybe part of it's because I went down that path before
Mm-hmm.
and it worked out, right? So like, so I'm doing another completely different path. So
Yeah.
here I go again.
And that's interesting how you said how she couldn't wrap her mind around it. Cause like when I first got started into YouTube, I was like, oh, like this is a little hobby or whatever. But until when I got that first viral video of 250,000 views in one day, and I got that first paycheck from Google, I just had
Mhm.
like that total paradigm change. When did
Yeah.
you have that paradigm change to where you're like, whoa, like this making money online thing, like it's real, hey?
Yeah, right. It's real. I think it's been a process. Like I slowly was going through the motions of like, you know, everything from like that first video that got a decent amount of views to the next one that actually really seemed to take off to starting getting paid. And it's like I guess I was kind of looking for, partly I was looking for consistency. Like, okay, so
Hmm.
is this an anomaly? Like, can I actually make consistent results this or not? And the other one part of it is too, like when I growing up, like my, you know, I love my parents, but there was a lot of things that they would talk about, like, and say, oh, this could like completely change our lives and we're going to do it. And it's like, oh, what are we doing? Oh, we're selling like women's perfume now. I'm like, what? I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? Like the multi-level marketing stuff, you know? So
Hmm.
I've always been a little bit skeptical. So, and not to say that stuff doesn't work, because I do believe it works. It just kind of depends on timing and all that stuff.
Hmm.
But at the same time, like, you know, with making money online, it's like I've always had that kind of like, well, this is almost too good to be true kind of a kind of feeling. And I think that's
Hmm.
where a lot of people come in. They feel like it's too good to be true. But when you start realizing, well, it's like, no, it's a business, but it's just online. It's just,
Hmm.
it's the same model that everyone's used to. But once you put the internet in the mix, everyone gets really confused about how it can work.
Hmm.
And I think part of the reason for that is because the distribution aspect of the internet is so much bigger than it is for like a local mom and pop business, right?
Yep.
So it's really hard for people to wrap their heads around that. And then at that point in time, then it just becomes math, right? It's
Hmm.
like, how many people can this get in front of? Like, how many people are there in the world? Like that, you kind of have to totally shift your mindset around. You know, it's not just this town of, you know, 10,000 people, 100,000 people, or whatever. It's like millions, billions of people that are
Oh yeah.
potentially your audience. So
Hmm.
you're just scaling your ability to get in front of people at that time.
Hmm. I absolutely agree. And that's one thing I love about just have like an online business, is the stars is like the ceiling, there's no limit.
Yeah.
It's just like all about marketing and putting yourself out there to where you're able to be seen. And I guess in my experience on YouTube, there's two ways to make money online. You can go like the
Mhm.
viral route and just like monetize through that way through like ad revenue, but there's
Mhm.
also the route to where you can go and you can have like like a super small audience, but real like building up that trust, niching down, and redirecting them to maybe like some, I don't know, like affiliate links, a video course, some coaching program, and still make
Mhm.
the maybe even more money than the people that are getting like millions of views a month. I've been down both routes. And I guess to like transition to my next question, like how do you like monetize your channel to where it's able to like bring in and you don't have to get into numbers, but like towards bringing in, like you're saying, like that, like consistent numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, so I've got it monetized through, you know, ad revenue, obviously, because I've
Mhm.
got high enough volume of people and views that comes out to a decent amount of money. And then the other piece of it is I do affiliate marketing with YouTube as well. So the affiliate marketing side, like you were talking about, it's, you know, where you kind of take, you know, what I do is I'll take a problem that people have, like on the home improvement stuff. I'll take a
Mhm.
problem that people have. I'll talk about how to fix it. I'll show, you know, different products that I use to fix the problem. And sometimes like if it's kind of a rare product or something that people haven't really seen before, that's even better because it's kind of like it's new and different.
Yeah.
And then what I'll do is I'll talk about like if you want to use the products I've used here or just some simple call to action, then I'll have a link in the description of the video, and then that takes them to like Amazon. Like I have Amazon affiliate or Amazon associates. I'm a part of that program, and then they can purchase that item or they can purchase something else there. And then if they do, then I'll get a little bit of a kickback from that, which is awesome. Disclaim, make sure everybody knows that you're getting getting some kickbacks from that, which is cool. And that was another hang up that I had in the beginning. It's like, well, if I tell people, are they really gonna like, are they be like, oh no, I'm not gonna click on that. Like, I don't want you to get paid. But that was another mental hang up I had. It's like, no, if you're actually helping people, if you're providing them value, they might want to buy it through your link because they might want to help you and kind of pay you back a little bit. So so I monetize my channel that way. And then I've got another channel that's like about more marketing and making money online. So that's a little bit smaller channel. And I've made affiliate commissions that way. And a lot of that with the marketing side is more like reoccurring commissions. Like, so like if I get people signed up for like landing page software or something like that, as long as they continue to be a part of that, like they're continuing to pay for that software, then I'll continue to get paid whatever that percentage is every month. So that's a really good deal too, because then you can really stack your income up when it comes to like the affiliate commissions, right? Because you've got, you get one person on, then another and another and another, and they just really add up. So you kind of multiply your effect, right? Yeah. So you got your videos out on YouTube that continue to bring people in. And then as long as they stick with whatever it is that you're recommending, like on the software side, then that continues to build up. So it's really cool. Like it can be a huge game changer.
Absolutely. Do you do like where like a company will reach out to you or you reach out to them as far as like, hey, promote my I don't know, I can't think of anything right now, but let's say like a window brand or a door brand, they want you to make a video, like do you do stuff like that to where like it's like a paid promotion, like a dedicated video?
Yeah, totally. I'll have companies that'll send me products for review. I'll have a lot of companies that reach out to me that they're like, oh, please review my stuff. And a lot of them, I turn down the vast majority of offers I get. Because I really want to make sure that whatever I promote or talk about, it really is a good product and it's a good fit for my audience too. And so a lot of the offers I get, I'll look at them, but it's like, that's not really going to work. And I'll just kind of dismiss it. But probably the biggest example I have is I've worked with, I don't know if you're familiar with Anchor. So they make like the cell phone chargers and cell phone cables and stuff that you buy through Amazon. They have another company called Eufy. So the Eufy is their like Eufy Security is their security program or security company, their security branch. And so they've sent me different products to review, like a solar-based security camera. So they sent that to me, and then I installed it, did a review on it. They sent me like a 360 camera for like the backyard that's got like these big floodlights on it and stuff. So I reviewed that and did a video on that. And also, they've got like a package drop off thing that they sent me. So like when Amazon or UPS or whatever drops off a package, like they just punch in a code, open a door, and they put your package in it. So it prevents like thieves from stealing your packages, which is really cool. So yeah, so I've done some of those videos. And usually when I do those, like I said, it has to be companies that I believe in. Like I think they produce good products. And then also I want to make sure that I can provide an honest review as well. Like if they're like, it has to be positive or anything like that, I'm like, no, I'm out. Like I have to be able to do the video and I actually give my honest opinion about it. And generally, in general, companies are fine with that. But so what will happen, like sometimes I'll get to keep the product. Sometimes I can actually I can do a video and then the payment is I keep the product. And then the other nice thing about that is once the video is out there, I can also send them like people to buy that product as well. And if someone buys the product, then I get money back from that, which is kind of cool. So that's I have done brand deals before. Those can be good, but you got to be careful with those.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think my main channel still gets hit with them, but they're all just like first of all, like bad offers, and then also like products that don't really align with like the audience and just like the overall brand, which I think is really important because like your audience, that's like your number one asset, you know. They're the ones that are
Yeah.
kind of like helping you, like, you know, like just like helping you I don't want to say maintain that lifestyle, but you know, like you're giving them value, and in return they're helping you just like be where you're at today, you know. So you don't want to like ruin that relationship by just like taking from them, you know. Yeah.
Right. Totally.
Yeah. I was gonna ask another question. It just went off the top of my head, but yeah. So yes, I guess like is that far as far as it as far as like the ways you like you monetize your the main channel?
Yeah,
And I know you
so the
guys.
main channel, yeah, for sure. I've got some merch and stuff that is available for purchase, like
Mhm.
t-shirts and stuff.
Yes, sir.
But that's not, that's not the main money maker. But yeah, as far as my main channel that's concerned, that's how I make the revenue there. And then with my marketing channel, what I'm really trying to do is, the whole identity thing, right? So
Mhm,
I'm the home improvement guy right now. I'm trying to really branch out and help more people with YouTube and like teach them what
mhm,
I've done, because another one of the hangups I had was that like you only can in the beginning I thought, well, maybe you can make money with the internet, but you can only make money by helping other people make money. And so like
mhm.
like all the mental stuff that you kind of go through, it's
Mhm.
like it's crazy. Like you have to get all over all these hurdles. But really I'm trying to take what I've learned and help other people like make more money online. So that's
Mhm,
where my marketing channel is coming into play. So I'm teaching people like how to do the basics of like online marketing and starting YouTube and working with YouTube, starting your own channel and doing affiliate marketing, that kind of stuff.
mhm,
So yeah, so I'm starting to do coaching with that. And I've got, getting some traction there, but it's pretty early on at this point. But yeah, that's
mhm.
kind of where that's my vision for the future.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And I like how both of those niches are really good, especially the home. No, actually both of them, because like um I know some niches, for example, like gaming channels, it's kind of like the game will be hot for like maybe like a year or two, then it dies up. But like with homes, especially home improvement, people are always gonna buying houses, things are gonna break, people are gonna renovate, and it's like it's very consistent, you know. So um
Yeah.
I don't know if YouTube will be around 10 years from now, you know, but if it
Right.
is, you
Right.
know, like yeah,
Yeah.
you'll probably still be getting views, you know. Just that's how consistent it is. Same thing with the marketing as well. Once you have like some traction up, so you pick some pretty good niches as far as like to yeah, double down in.
Yeah. 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 It's one of those things like I want to make sure that I'm not, obviously capitalizing on trends whenever possible is definitely important. But at the same time, like I try to balance out and put most of my content out there is really it's more like evergreen based content, like you were saying. Like there's always going to be people that need to, I don't know, fix something in their house and need to change it, like the door handle on their door or whatever. Like there's always going to be people that need that help. And the same thing with making money online or online business marketing, all that stuff, right?
Mhm,
It's all going to continue to be there. Yeah.
mhm. One more question for you, and then we're gonna hop into funnel hacking live. I know you went to that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
We got lots of unpacking to do with that there, but since you're doing YouTube full time, I know you got like different streams of income. You got that second channel, but like, you know, you got your family and just like responsibilities, you know. And even though things may be good today, do you have like a backup plan in case like poof, it just disappears tomorrow?
Yeah, I do. It's one of those things like so with my IT background, I've got obviously I can lean back on that 20-year career.
Mm-hmm.
So like with my IT and management. So like I was an associate director before I left. So I worked my way up from like help desk to associate director. So I've got a
Mm-hmm.
wide range of experience there. And then I also I'm maintaining my core like IT certifications too.
Yeah.
So like I could always hop back into that industry if I need to, especially like on the information security side. That's like there's so much demand in that market. Like it's huge. But as far as like a career goes, that would be like my fallback. But I'm hoping to not like use that. Obviously,
Yeah.
I want to continue this path. I've changed my identity, you know what I mean,
Uh-huh.
mentally. So but I think I'm trying to diversify when it comes to YouTube and like I am intentionally like also a part of that is I'm doing home improvement stuff, but I'm also getting into marketing and I'm also trying to like
Mhm,
diversify the markets that I'm in as well. So we have another channel. It's like a travel based channel for our family, right?
mhm,
So we put out videos on that. So as we go and do stuff, like when we went to Funnel Hacking Live, we recorded all the stops along the way because we took a
mhm.
big road trip. So we recorded like restaurants and hotels and the beach and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so we'll put that content out there on our family channel too, which is it's a lot smaller channel. But it's a lot of that is kind of for our our purposes of just kind of documenting what we've done
Mhm.
and just kind of also kind of pushing ourselves a little bit to get out there, try new things, especially with our
Mhm.
kids.
Mhm.
Make sure that they're having a good experience in life and as best as they can,
Mhm.
and so yeah, so I'm diversifying as much as possible, and that's kind of my fallback is the IT stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, that was one
Yep.
thing I wish I had known like years ago back at my peak. I was like, oh, I'm making this amount of money a month, Um, nothing could go wrong, Then I got demonetized and I'm back at square
Oh man.
zero, Yeah, so
Yeah, yeah,
I know
yeah.
better now. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can't advertise on Facebook. So I feel your pain. Like
Yeah.
I spent a lot of money to learn how to advertise on Facebook. And then one day they're like, no, you can't advertise anymore. And that not just once, like multiple times, like
Hmm.
it's crazy. So yeah, no, I get it. Always have to have a plan B,
Oh
no matter
yeah.
what.
Plan B, C, D, all the way to Z,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so Funnel Hacking Live, you mentioned the road trip and just like documenting that. How was like the actual event?
Yeah, so the event was great. So this was my second time going to Funnel Hacking Live. The first time it was like it's a big event. Like it's totally different. Like it's not your typical like sit around like listen to people talk and present and all this stuff. Like I
Mhm.
mean there is that element, but really with Funnel Hacking Live they make it a big production. So there's like fog machines, there's like laser
Mhm.
machines, they have a DJ, like all this stuff. So like they really try and get you hyped up in the mornings, which is really important when you're like standing in line at like 8 a.m. trying to get a good seat in there. And so it's like they make it really entertaining, really engaging, and their speakers are like just phenomenal. The amount of information they share in a 4-day period is just it's crazy. It's really hard to keep up. It's so many good things. But yeah, just the event itself. Like I said, this is my second time. So the first year was like just trying to kind of wrap my head around that whole thing, and this year I was able to take a little bit more of a step back and still really like enjoy myself, but also like look a little bit more to like the structure and kind of
Mhm.
like not only what the presenters are saying, but like maybe why they're saying things the way they are and like kind of the
Mhm.
structure behind some of the stuff. So it was a little bit different this time around. I also was trying to be more intentional about the number of people I talked to. So like the first year I talked to a few people, but I knew I could do a better job if I really tried to talk to
Mhm.
more people. And so this year I made a lot. I was more intentional about getting out there and actually trying to talk and have more conversations with people than I was the first year, and that was really beneficial for me too.
Mhm.
Also, especially with capitalizing on opportunities as I saw them when there were like speakers out in the hallway and stuff like that. It's
Mhm.
like I may have had an idea in mind, like I want to go back and get a good seat, so I want to stand in line early, and then I'd see someone in the hall. I'm like, oh, I really need to go talk to them. Like I don't know if they're going to be in the hallway
Yeah.
again. So I'm like, okay, so I don't care about the seat. Like all the seats are decent. That's whatever.
Mhm.
So, but I'm not going to have this opportunity. Like this is a higher priority. So then
Mhm.
I just capitalize on that and go stand in line or just not in line, but kind of just like, if they have a few people talking to them, like I had a decent shot about talking to them, asking questions or whatever.
Mhm.
Definitely took the time to go and do that.
Wow, we have like the same like social strategy. Sure, the conference would have been nice, the speakers and everything, but my purpose would if I were to go as well, it'll be to just strategically go and like talk to people, network with people. And
Yep.
I think that was the number one reason why I didn't I would have went, I could have put on a credit card and went, but my issue was like I was kind of going through like an identity crisis, kind of figuring
Mm.
out like what I was and with networking. The first rule of networking is kind of like bringing something to the table.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear
Uh-huh,
you.
yep, to where you're able to I could have made the connection, but like why should they continue talking to me? Why should they follow me back or whatever?
Yeah.
Really like
Yeah. I get it.
figuring that
Yeah.
out
But
right there.
the thing about that I've noticed about Funnel Hacking Live is there's a lot of givers there. Like they
Hmm.
like even if you don't have it all figured out, they want to help you figure it out. Like it's really cool. So like I went up and talked to someone that's a really, really big name. I won't go into the details of like everything that we talked about, but like I said, hey, it was a great presentation and blah blah blah. And then they asked me like, okay, well, what do you do? And
Hmm.
then like, obviously there's going to be the people that are there that kind of want to try and sell you on their
Hmm.
coaching or whatever. But I had a couple opportunities where people they were just like legitimately trying to just help me figure out, or maybe I wasn't clear on a specific point. They're like, well, have you thought about it this way or whatever?
Hmm.
So they know, like the people there, it's really interesting. There's tons of successful people in that room. Like it's a super high concentration of really successful people,
Hmm.
and the thing that I realized is like they were they used to be where I am now. And so they can help like identify, and a lot of them have good hearts and good intentions. So yeah, it's even if you don't have it all figured out, it's okay.
Hmm.
Even if you're having, like, especially when it comes to identity, I think that's probably one of the biggest things that people struggle with when it comes to the entrepreneur path. I hear that over and over and over. And that's one thing that really helped me. It's like, okay, so I'm not the only one that's having issues with who I am, what I'm supposed to be doing, all this stuff. Like it seems like everybody else has it figured out, which for the most part they do, at least right now. But
Hmm.
there was a guy that talked on stage. He was a cowboy, like he was a presenter, but he was a cowboy. His big thing was
Yeah.
rodeos. Like he was the number one rodeo guy for I don't know how long. I don't remember his name either. If I tried, I'd probably mess it up. But um, but he talked about like how successful he was, his background as a kid, like how hard of a life he had, and all this stuff. So it's a really like super rags to riches story.
Hmm.
And then at the end of the event, they had this whole thing like a Tony Robbins style intervention with another presenter, Marcus Lemonis. And he didn't know that guy was a speaker from before. He actually pulled him up on stage to talk to him about his identity and stuff.
Hmm.
And the guy was like, he was struggling because he was like, I think he said he was 39 years old and he's too old to compete in rodeos now.
Hmm.
And he's like, he's struggling with his identity, trying to figure out like, if I can't do that anymore, like, who am I, and all this stuff. So that was a really interesting moment that it's like, I think no matter where you are on the path, like you're always going to have questions,
Hmm.
and there's always going to be options and places, like ways you can go. But at the same time, it's nice to see like everyone struggles with similar things, right? And we can all kind of help each other out. So that's one of the biggest things I like about Funnel Hacking Live is just the fact that everyone's like, for the most part, just a big community. Everyone's trying to work together towards the same goals,
Hmm.
So yeah,
Well,
it was a little long rant, but
you
it
just
was,
convinced me to go to the next one.
yeah,
When the pre-sale
you,
goes
you
up,
have to go.
I'll just throw it on the credit card. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Yep. I'll just show up and kind of see what happens, you know.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's great. They had a bunch of speakers there. I don't know if you know who Perry Belcher is, but he's a big online marketer. He's done $900 million in sales online,
It's a good
and
number.
he's like, that's a good number. He's like, he
Yeah.
really wants that next 100 million to hit 1 billion behind his name. It's like, man,
Hmm.
that's crazy. But they had different people there, all walks of life, all different kind of backgrounds and stuff. They had the number like, see, I'm starting to trying to think of names. I'm having problems, but like the number one wrestler in the world
Yeah.
was there. And so he had a really good talk about performing and sticking with things and everything. Like it's so packed full of motivational talks, and from all different angles, not just like how to make money, but also personal development, also
Hmm.
like just pretty much everything that you would kind of need, or like areas of things that you would need as an entrepreneur
Hmm.
to develop. They had talks on that. So
Hmm.
yeah, it was really good. But it's also so jam packed. Like you're in these events and then it's like, okay, we have a break and it's time to go eat lunch. It's like, okay, cool. I could like take a step back, go eat lunch, like kind of
Hmm.
collect myself. It's like, no, this is the opportunity I have to go and network. So
Yep. Got to
like,
run your mouth. Yep.
like I got to do that.
Uh-huh.
So like there was a couple times I didn't eat because I was networking, right? And then there was a couple times I ended up being able to eat and network at the same time, or however that worked out. But towards the end of the event, I realized like I could, I needed to network with people like similar to me during lunch. And then all the speakers were typically out in the evenings. So I'm like, okay, cool. There's my strategy. I'll network with other people like myself during lunch break, sit with them, whatever. And then in the evenings, I need to be out here in the hall trying to see what speakers I can find,
Hmm.
because that was a kind of more of a consistent pattern. So, but it
Yeah.
took me a couple of days to figure that out too,
Yeah.
So
But
don't ever be afraid to adjust.
I like how you guys had like the name tags, which said like this is your third year at a Funnel Hacking Live. You're an author. You're a YouTuber. Just kind of like every title there. I think that's a good
Yep.
way to, as far as like sparking a conversation. I would have loved that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And that's a couple times people came up to me like, oh, I see you're like, the author question came up, right? It's an author
Hmm.
coach. I'm like, yeah, kind of, it's like,
Yeah.
then it gives you opportunity to talk through that stuff,
Hmm.
whereas before you wouldn't have, or you might not have struck up a conversation. There was one lady that I was talking to in line, and you have a good opportunity because basically what they do is they open the doors for you to go in to Funnel Hacking Live all at once, because
Hmm.
they want people to kind of like
Yep. Kind
rush
of
to
like,
try to find the best
yeah.
seats at one time, And so you have a good opportunity as you're standing there waiting in line to talk to people. And there was one lady I talked to, and I said, how how's your networking been? How have you been doing with talking to people and all that? She's like, well, I'm just kind of, I'm here, I'm listening to the speakers and everything. She goes, I don't know what I would do when I like to try and talk to like some of the speakers or whatever. I said, that doesn't matter. Just get out there. Like like this is an opportunity that you have right now. You've got to capitalize on it. And she's like, well, yeah, I understand. She goes, well, maybe next year. It's like, no, not maybe
Dang.
next year. Like you
Yeah.
got to do it now. If you don't do it
Mm-hmm.
now, you're not going to do it next year,
Yeah.
And so I had moments like that. It's like, oh, it's like, I really want to help this person, but I can't, you can only do so much. But yeah, so it was like, it's just 4 days of nonstop everything, right? Funnel Hacking Live is. So
I love it. And what was like the number one thing you got from it, from the speakers, as far as like something like you learned that you're directly gonna apply to just like a YouTube channel? Yeah, YouTube channel. It's just like everything you're doing online.
yeah, so there's a lot of takeaways, but probably the number one thing that I took away from this is just, you got to be yourself. You have to be authentic, right? If you're not authentic, it's going to come through on videos, on sales calls, whatever. It's just, people are going to see through that. And with me, that's one of the big things that I struggle with, or I've struggled with over the years, is like working, at the university I worked at. I felt like I always had to be, super professional. Like I never knew who I would interact with. If it was like $1 million physician or multi-million-dollar, researcher or whatever, like I didn't want to step on toes. And you know what I mean? Like there's all these things that kind of go through your mind about like, well, how can I get the job done more so than like have my personality shine through? And so that's something that's been really big for me. That was my biggest takeaway from Funnel Hacking Live. And it's like, I've got to work on that more. I've got to get myself out there, put myself out there more, and actually have my personality show through more. And, for me, I like to joke around
Yeah.
and all this stuff. Like at the university, I couldn't do that. I could kind of, but it just kind of depended on who I was talking to. But the internet, it's like, I have this in my mind. It's like, well, I don't know who's watching. Like, should I be super professional? So I kind of go back to that default mode, and it's like, no, I have to be more myself. Like I have to, like, if I tell a joke while I'm recording, I just need to leave it in, that kind of stuff. So, and then just roll with it. But yeah, authenticity was the big takeaway I had from that event.
That's some good advice. I know it's always said, like thrown around online, like be yourself with everything, but I don't know, because like the leading up to that, it was it just hits differently. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
3 more questions for you. So do you have like any exciting plans for the future?
Yeah, actually I do. So I just started really diving in and kind of tackling head on coaching people with YouTube. So I started I started a beta program where I'm actually taking people through the motions of what I've done with YouTube so far. Because I've realized, I think there are a lot of people that are in my boat, or the boat that I've been in, which is kind of like, you hear all these stories about, people making millions of dollars online. And, even like with the ClickFunnels world and Funnel Hacking Live, which is great. Still, it's like a lot of like, change the world, you can impact all these people, all this stuff, which is true. But a lot of times, like there's just so much to it. It becomes overwhelming. And so I really want to take people and like kind of guide them through the earlier stages of things, especially with YouTube as a platform, about like, showing them how this can all work and how this is actually all real. It's not just, pie in the sky, fake, snake oil type stuff, right? It's real. But it is hyped up a lot to get you interested in it. But so I'm starting to do that, and then really starting to dive more into like the marketing side of things, teaching people all that, especially with like a tech flair, because the tech stuff comes easy to me, where I know it's a big hang up for a lot of people too. So it's like I really need to leverage that strength and try and help people with not only like making money online and online marketing, all that stuff, but also how trying to incorporate all the tech stuff as well to try and help them with that. Yeah, so those are my big plans. Like I'm still doing the home improvement stuff, but I'm trying to really expand my circle and branch out.
Good stuff. I like it. If you could do it all over again, what would you do differently as far as like your whole journey overall?
I would have started filming YouTube way sooner. I would have started putting out videos way sooner. And then I also would have not been so married to the outcome. Right. So like I like to analyze things a lot. like, well, why did I do that? Or why did this do this? Or why did I have like this in terms of traffic? And now it's like flattening out or whatever it is. Like, I love to analyze things. But I've realized over time that like you can spend too much time on that. Like, sure, it's important, but if you are hyper focused on it, you're wasting time that you could be using to do other productive things, right? It's kind of like that home run analogy again. It's like I could like miss on like swinging the bat at a baseball and then sit there and think, oh, why did I miss that? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
It's like, just take another swing, like, what to do, just take another swing and then maybe this one will connect, kind of thing. So yeah, so definitely it'd be like taking action sooner, like actually going, filming videos and starting my YouTube channel a lot sooner. And then also not worrying so much about the outcome, enjoying the journey more. Going through the motions of like being okay with not being perfect and just kind of figuring it out as I go.
And I love that point if you talk about like figuring out as you go, not being perfect. One flaw of mine is like with all my Instagram posts, I'm just too lazy to kind of like, I do like proofread it multiple times, but like there's always some errors that pop up, and when I do find one, I'll just like I have the urge to change them. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna keep them there, just like
just keep
as long as it's not too major, I'll just keep it there,
Yeah,
kind of like
yep,
just kind of showcasing that like just showing that it's raw, like it's kind of being but yeah, I agree with you on that right there. And then the last question I have for you is like, what is something you can do every day that makes you happy?
What's something I do every day that makes me happy?
Yeah.
So I'd say it's probably outside of all of this stuff, because I really do enjoy what I'm doing now. I'd say just spending time with my family, my boys, my wife, like actually spending time with them and being intentional about that brings me a lot of joy. And the fact that I'm working from home, like doing the stuff at the house, I get to see them way more than I used to, which is really, really great. So yeah, that's the thing that means a lot to me.
And as I'm starting to get older, I'm starting to value family like a lot more. Like I'm switching from like Christmas used to be my favorite holiday, but now Thanksgiving is starting to take over now. I like having all I just love it. Yeah, it's just so nice having like having things is nice, but like family, that's where real happiness is at. So
totally. It's funny. Your priorities will change over your lifespan. You'll start to see things differently. Like well, I won't say how old I am. Like I have a few more years than you do. And so it's really interesting to see like things that you used to value years ago don't mean that much anymore. Like I used to really value video games like a ton, but they don't mean anything, So it's like, I'll play them every once in a while now with my boys or whatever, but like I used to spend hours and hours and hours, like so many hours, and it was all wasted. Whereas I could have been doing something else that had more value to it. So yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's just a journey of life, with that comes the identity change, but that's all.
Right. Right. We talked about that.
I'm saying, just circles right back around.
Right.
But yeah, Mark, it was great having you on the podcast, like great conversation, phenomenal. We popped into like a bunch of like great it's like talking points and like maybe I do a part 2, so even deeper, but like absolutely love
I'm up for it.
having you on board. But I'll have all your links down below in the description down below. It's a YouTube podcast, so I can actually like put like lots of links and everything there. But thank you everyone for like watching or listening to this podcast episode with Mark, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya. Bye.